they're the ones who kind of control like the canonization of scriptures. They were the ones who pretty much had the authority to say this belongs in the Bible, this does not, or so-called authority. Of course, we know that the white man is the devil the Bible speak of. So, he has no authority on the Bible. The people who truly have the authority, when it comes to the Bible, is the people who really do have that authority. That's who you see in every ghetto across America. Black people, Hispanic people, Native American people.
Right.
The white man, when he, in the Catholic Church, he, at one point in time, let's see, the whole reason why the 1611 King James Version even came about was really as a dispute between King James and the Roman Catholic Church. So with that dispute, what King James did was he created the 1611 King James Version because what the Roman Catholic Church used to do is that, during that period where they had, I guess, a governmental power over people. Yeah, it's starting now. So
also, what I'm going to tell you, I was going to tell you, just make sure we don't, to drop the white man is the devil and things like that, so we don't get banned off of Facebook.
No sweat. No, it's live right now, though.
Huh?
It's live right now.
Okay, no sorry. Okay.
All right, so yeah, so
you guys are pen and paper?
Yes, sir.
So during that time period when the Roman Catholic Church was, basically, had that governmental power over people, they basically did not have any type of mass production of a Bible. So if any person was to want to learn the Bible or read the Bible, the only way they could do it is to do what? Go to the Catholic Church. You see what I'm saying? So, fast forward, King James, he basically is like he's not some type of freedom fighter or anything. He did it merely as a jab at the Catholic Church. So he published the 1611 King James Bible, so that anybody could have access to it. Now, of course, him publishing it doesn't mean that everybody was going to be able to go out and buy a copy, because, of course, during the 1600s, 1700s, books were something that was very expensive. Right. It was very expensive to have a book, because, for all the different reasons, they didn't have mass productions of, we can go to the thrift store and get Bibles for free now in 2019. But back in the 1600s, it was impossible. Prior to King James making the King James Version, even still, it was even more impossible, because, the only people who had access to it was the Roman Catholic Church. And so, of course, we know about all the atrocities that went forth with the Roman Catholic Church. They went and, slaughtered the Hispanics, murdered North American Indians, and had assisted in the transatlantic slave trade. So, a lot of these governments and kings that made these decisions to kill North American Indians, enslave North American Indians, and enslave Black people in the transatlantic slave trade, all of those things were authorized by the Roman Catholic Church. Matter of fact, there's tons of movies, that go deeper into it. When you look at Christopher Columbus had to get permission from the Pope to come over here. You see what I mean? Hernán Cortés had to get permission from the Pope to come over here. And we all, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but Hernan Cortez came to the Americas and murdered millions of Hispanics looking for the so-called city of gold, El Dorado. You see what I mean? So with all that being said, all of that even kind of plays into what the topic of this class is about. What I'm going into today is I'm going to talk about the history of One West.
The history of One West.
According to the Bible, And the thing is that, this is something, I've been waiting to do a class on this topic because, when my time coming into the truth, this was something that I was doing a lot of research on because, being a man in the world, deciding that I want to serve the Most High, I had to figure out, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I know I'm an Israelite. I know that, we got all these different organizations out here, so-called teaching that we're Israelites. But what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just join anybody? Am I just supposed to get down with the nearest get down? Like, what's the deal? What am I supposed to do? So, I used to follow every Israelite group. Well, I'm not gonna say every single one, but the majority of the ones, name off the top of your head. I've watched every single, camp I could think of. Follow them heavily because, being naive and in the world and being new to this thing, I figured, hey, he got fringes on. He's an Israelite, so we all in this together. That and being coming from the world, we see so much division in the Christian church, in the streets, and anything that you do, whether it be at work, we see so much division amongst our people that to see these brothers on the corner pulling scriptures out the Bible, showing you your history, it's very powerful. And also too, it's very easy to get misled from that point on. You see what I'm saying?
Because you never knew the truth before, now you know it. You figure all the other camps have some truth. Right. What you need.
Exactly. So, so I bring all that up to say this, that, when I was in that position, trying to figure out, which camp should I get down with? I knew that before I joined an Israelite group, I came into this thing knowing that, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be like Yahushua. And what did Yahushua do? Yahushua gave his life for it. He gave his life for his people. He died for his people. So I told myself, I'm going to, whatever organization I'm going to be that until I die. So I made that up in my mind, and it made me serious about where I want to consider myself to be a brother, where I want to lay my
narrow the search.
Right. So it definitely did. It made me get serious because this is a serious thing. Our people are seriously oppressed. Our people are seriously destroyed, and we were seriously destroyed before we came into the truth. You see what I mean? So it's a very serious thing. We all grew up in Christian churches, Catholic churches, Baptist churches, and I had many opportunities to even become a pastor in the church, but I always refused to do it. And the reason why I'm talking as a man in the world, the reason why I always refused to be some type of pastor or priest or whatever is because I knew it was a lie. And I feared that the Lord would kill me for standing on that pulpit telling that lie.
You were deeply convicted.
I was deeply convicted.
To not go that way, and I understand.
Right. And so with that conviction, it made me wise. The scriptures say the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High. And I feared that the Lord would kill me for standing on the pulpit and telling lies to our people. I feared that. Right. And so, that is what even brought me to finding out I was a Hebrew Israelite. But then you got all the Israelite groups, and so right. So, and then this is why it's so heavy. One of the things that Commander General YAHANNA said, I remember, it's certain things that you learn coming in this truth that you never forget. It's certain things that brothers say and they tell you or teach you or give you counsel on that stick with you throughout the rest of your life. The first thing was Captain Mashak. Captain Mashak told me as a young man, before I was even a trooper, before I even got my Hebrew name, he told me, and I tell every other brother that comes into this truth, that whatever you do, no matter what happens, never leave the truth. Never do it. Don't do it. You understand? And I stand by that still to this day, no matter what happens. You understand? No matter what happens, because we know that there is no brotherhood out in the world. We know that there is no brotherhood in the Christian church. If there was brotherhood in the Christian church, then somebody would have cared enough about those people that died in Charleston in that church to stand up and not let Dylan Storm Roof come in that church without being checked for a weapon at least. You understand?
Right.
So that right there that's a lack of brotherhood that goes on in the Christian church.
It's a slave.
Exactly. It's so much a lack of brotherhood in the Christian church that in the Christian church, you have pastors sleeping with married women in the church, pastors sleeping with other men in the church, pastors molesting children. There's a pastor just up the road in Spartanburg that got I might be wrong about the sister's age. It was a 13-year-old sister that he got pregnant, got the sister pregnant within the church. So with that being said, with all these things going on out in the Christian church and in the world coming into the truth, it makes it easier to be misled, because you think just because a brother has a Bible and tells you he's an Israelite, then that makes you in the truth, when that's not the case. You understand? And so one of the things, another thing that I learned that was taught to me that I'll never let go of is one of the things Commander General YAHANNA said. Commander General YAHANNA said this one night on the grill, and I'll never forget it. And he said that every Israelite, meaning every Black, Hispanic, and Native American, should have 1,000 questions. You should question everything. You should always be asking questions. You understand? Always ask questions, because if you ask them questions and you don't got them answers, then you know that where you at is not the truth. You understand? So with that being said, it's kind of why I'm bringing this topic out today. Is we're going to talk about the history of One West and how the history of One West applies directly to this Bible. You understand? And first thing is, that I want to say is one of the questions that I asked myself coming into the truth was, if we got all these Israelite groups, where did it all start at? And when I asked that question, it put me on a search, and that search landed me in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? And so I asked that question, where did this all start from? You understand? And so, and being that I'm asking that question, I'm faced with all these Israelite groups. So I'm proposing this question to members of other Israelite groups. And it didn't hit me. But after I started asking enough of them, I realized that a lot of these groups don't really want to tell you where it all started from. And I noticed that a lot of times when they would even discuss where the truth started at, they would always refer to it as the old school. They would never, or they would say One West, but they would never say I.S.U.P.K. They would never say Commander General YAHANNA and them. They would never say that. They would always say the old school, back in Harlem on 125th. That's how they would always describe it. and they would never say I.S.U.P.K. or or the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. They would never use those terms. So it eluded me that the answer to that question eluded me until one day I actually watched a GMS video. In the GMS video, they was always talking about Commander General YAHANNA, Commander General YAHANNA, Commander General YAHANNA, saying they call it Commander General YAHANNA all type of names, and so I looked because of that. I wanted to see for myself, like, who is this Commander General YAHANNA? What is he about? What is this? So I looked up Commander General YAHANNA on YouTube, and I think the first video I ever found was a video of Commander General YAHANNA speaking to the Christian pastors, and he was talking about if women growing up, if kids growing up in homes with father, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he was talking about fatherless homes and people, marriages not lasting and things like that. And he was like, if people can't work their relationships out and kids growing up in fatherless homes, then it's your fault. And that was real heavy to me because it was their fault. And I'm like, who is this man to sit here amongst these Christian pastors and just so elegantly and so boldly tell them that it's their fault? You understand? And then they didn't even refute what he was saying. So I started digging a little deeper, and the thing is of course, I'm gonna shorten this part of the story, but the I.S.U.P.K was the first Israelite group to go out on the street and teach. It was the first one on the planet Earth. The I.S.U.P.K was the first Israelite organization to stand on the street corner and teach the truth of the Most High.
That's saying something.
You understand? And that truth that the I.S.U.P.K spoke was so powerful that the Nation of Islam even murdered I.S.U.P. Bivens, who started this whole thing. You understand? They murdered I.S.U.P. Bivens because of what he stood out on that corner and talked. Because what do we teach? We teach against Islam. We teach against Christianity. We teach against loving the other nations. You understand? But what all the other organizations teaching? Christianity, of course, is teaching all people can be saved. Islam is teaching all people can come together. You understand? And so, so everything that we were teaching went against the Nation of Islam. Everything we were teaching went against the Christian church. You understand? And so, come. So the thing is that, when I.S.U.P. Bivens was murdered, then there was this is a heavy history we're bringing out. So when I.S.U.P. Bivens was murdered, soon after that, that's where we have the 7 heads of the I.S.U.P.K. We have Masha, Arya, Yaquab, and them, where they all came together and started what we call today the I.S.U.P.K. And they took what I.S.U.P. Bivens taught them and taught it through the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? So that was in 1969. Fast forward to the 90s, I.S.U.P.K. grew and became powerful as it should have. You understand? As it should have, because wasn't nobody out here talking what we was talking. Wasn't nobody out here doing what we was doing. Wasn't nobody out here teaching the truth about the Bible, of the truth about where we come from. And nobody understood that. And so, nobody did that. Right. Nobody did that. Now, fast forward to the 90s, we had situations that happened that caused a split in the school in the 90s. And so when that first split happened, you had the I.S.U.P.K. and then you had the House of David. You understand? So you had the I.S.U.P.K. and then you had the House of David. Now, the House of David, a lot of people don't necessarily know much about who these Israelite camps are. But the house of David was started when a man named Masha left the truth. He was one of the 7 heads, left the truth. And he left the truth, half of the school followed him.
Wow.
You understand? And the thing is that when the house of David split, it split for the purpose because Masha believed himself to be a reincarnation of King David. He believed himself to be a reincarnation of King David, which of course he brought before the council in the I.S.U.P.K, and it was rejected by the council of the I.S.U.P.K. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so because him believing that he was King David, reincarnated back in the flesh, he believed that. And other men believed that. So because of that, he just couldn't let it go. He could not let go of something that he believed in his mind. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't let it go. And because of that, it drove him to cause a split through the school, in which we have the I.S.U.P.K and the house of David. Now, I want you to go to a scripture for me.
Okay.
About Bashar. All right.
Yes, sir.
So this is where we're gonna start the matter. All right. I want you to go to the book of Acts, chapter 5.
Okay.
I want you to start at verse 39. Acts chapter 5, verse 39.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Acts 5:39. But if it be of God.
But if it be of God, see, here's the thing. Every Hebrew Israelite out there, no matter what Israelite group you in, even if you're not in an Israelite group, you can't realistically call yourself an Israelite and not believe that information that you are an Israelite did not come from the Most High. You can't believe that. If you don't believe that, then you can't consider yourself an Israelite. Because who else was going to help you discover that information? Not white society, not our elementary school, not middle school, not high school, not one college on the planet. You understand? And not any church or religion on the face of this earth was going to teach the black man in the United States that in that ghetto lies the most valuable thing on the planet. And that's the children of Israel. No place else on the planet. So you can't sit here and say that you yourself found out you was an Israelite. You can't do that. Because there are scholars, listen, man, that's arrogance to even think that. Because there are scholars who have studied the scriptures for decades that haven't figured it out.
Right.
You understand?
That's true.
So the thing is that if you believe that you are an Israelite, you have to believe that understanding is from the Most High. You understand? So I want you to read that scripture.
Okay. But if it be of God.
But if it be of God, learning that you're an Israelite, you understand, is from the Most High. That came from the Most High. You understand? Keep reading.
Ye cannot overthrow it.
See, if it be of the Most High, it can't overthrow it. Just like how once you believe you an Israelite, can't nobody ever tell you you're from Africa. You understand?
Sure.
So if it be of the Most High, you can't overthrow it. You understand? Read on.
Lest haply ye be found even to fight against God.
Right. You understand? Keep reading. Hold on. Wait a minute. Matter of fact, I want you to start at verse 38.
38. Yes, sir. Come.
Matter of fact, I want you to go up and go to start at verse 38. Just read through.
Acts 5:38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone.
Go ahead.
For if this counsel or this work be of men.
So here it is. If this counsel, if what I'm bringing out today be of men, you understand? Read on.
It will come to naught.
It will come to naught. So if a man is responsible for figuring out that black people in the ghetto are the children of Israel, then it ain't gonna amount to nothing.
That's right.
You understand? If a man is the one that's responsible for this truth getting out, then it ain't gonna get nowhere.
That's right.
You understand? Because you know why? A man was responsible for the civil rights movement. What happened to it? Nothing. Still in the same situation we're in now. You understand? A man started the Nation of Islam. We went from Malcolm X putting fear in the hearts of white America to justice or else, and ain't nothing else. We still waiting on the or else. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So if it be of men, it shall come to naught. But read on.
But if it be of God.
But if it be of God, go ahead.
Ye cannot overthrow it.
You understand? That applies to anything. That applies to anything and everything. You understand? So let's look at these Israelite groups. Let's analyze the Israelite history versus what the scripture says. The scriptures say, if it be of man, it shall be brought to naught. It shall amount to nothing. You understand? But if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you a question. All right. I'll ask anybody a question. How can anybody, you understand, claim that they are an Israelite and not at least learn, you study history, you study slavery, you study North American Indian history, you study all sorts of history, you know what I mean? Why would you not study the history of Hebrew Israelites? You understand? Because it's important. Because, the Bible is the past, the present, and the future of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Sir.
You understand? So if this whole thing, if Hebrew Israelites, if that whole thing getting out into the world is from the Most High, then it's something that we should seriously analyze.
That's right.
You understand? And so in seriously analyzing it, one of our questions should be, where did it start from? You understand? Where did it start from? It didn't start in some temple called the Commandment Keepers, because the Commandment Keepers, they wasn't teaching to separate from the other nations.
Sure.
They believed that they were actually Ethiopian converts to Judaism, not being an Israelite, to that so-called religion that the Jewish man worshiped. You understand? So I want you to read verse 39 again for me, Bishop.
Verse 39. But if it be of God, ye cannot overthrow it.
Hold on. Read it again from the top. Slow it down just a little bit.
But if it be of God.
You understand? So here's the question. You need to start, if you are in an Israelite group, in the I.S.U.P.K, we call you fake Israelite groups. If you are in a fake Israelite group and you are not in the I.S.U.P.K, you need to ask yourself this question. Is this organization of the Most High, or is it of man? You understand? So now I'm going to ask you a question. The brothers who started the I.S.U.P.K, they started it based off of knowledge that was taught to them. That was taught to them by a man who had it taught to him. So in that scenario, who's responsible for it? Neither of those men. Because neither of those men figured it out. It was taught to each one of them. You understand? And you know what? They stuck with it. Stuck with it all the way up and through to the 90s until that first split happened. And that first split happened, that man, no disrespect to Marshall, you understand? Because he, what he did while he was in the I.S.U.P.K laid the foundation to me being able to come into the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? But Marshall fell off, and he started believing in something that he made up. I can't say that he made up, but believing in something that I.S.U.P.K. never taught, that he was never taught. You understand? And so because of that, it drove him to split from the I.S.U.P.K. and start his own organization. So when he did that, was that of the Most High?
So,
right. So who started the house of David? Was it God or was it man? Now he said, that what he said was correct. Man started the house of David. Now read that scripture again. Was it verse 38?
Verse 39.
The one that said be a man.
Okay, yes. But if it be of God, you cannot.
Like the one right before that.
Right before that. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught.
So that right there is exactly what happened to the house of David. You understand? The house of David was brought to naught because soon after that, the house of David collapsed and shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. You understand? So what used to be the might of the house of David is now the IUIC, GMS, AOC, HOI, 14th Street Israelites. You understand? Well, all those groups. You understand? So now what used to make the house of David strong is divided. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now let me ask you a question. After that divide, after House of David collapsed into 1,000,000 pieces,
sir,
where is the I.S.U.P.K?
Alone away from them.
Right. Not only are they alone away from them, but the answer I'm looking for is they are still here.
Still here.
You understand? Still here, stronger than ever. You understand? Read on.
And now I say to you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught.
You understand? So here's the thing. You ask yourself this question in your Israelite group. Whoever is teaching you the Bible, ask yourself this question. Is this of the Most High or is it of man?
That's right.
You understand? Did this school, was it started by some wicked nigga who wanted to seek power and sit on some type of throne of authority? Or is it of the Most High and taught to you by humble servants of the Most High? You understand? So, like I said, in the house of David, you had that split within the house of David. And all these Israelite groups that you hear of, I say most of them. I'm trying to think if there's any Future World of Israel. To be honest with you,
sir,
if you see an Israelite group and they got gay-looking clothing on, more than likely they came from the house of David. You understand? Now, with the exception of brothers like GMS. GMS, I see brothers, looking like they got dirty bed sheets on. You know what I mean? Out there in skinny sweatpants. Yeah. First time I ever seen skinny sweatpants was on a brother at camp in the GMS camp. I was like, these brothers come to camp with Jordans on. So, you got to ask these questions when you're in these Israelite groups. Is this of the Most High or is this of man? You understand? Now, if you can trace your origin back to he left the I.S.U.P.K, then you in something that's going to be brought to naught. Because the I.S.U.P.K was handed down. The knowledge was taught in the I.S.U.P.K was handed down to Abba Bivens. And then Abba Bivens handed it down to the 7 heads. And then the 7 heads handed it down to Commander General YAHANNA. And then Commander General YAHANNA is handing it down to us. You understand? And that's important. You understand? That pedigree is important. You understand? Because that pedigree is everything. You know, right? You understand? We're gonna get to all that in just a second. You understand? So now fast forward, you know, you had another split that ended up happening. You know, you had House of David split, became, you know, every fake Israelite group on the planet with the fringes on the bottom of their t-shirts and everything. You know what I mean? So fast forward, we have a later split. You know what I mean? And where the split happened, where brothers believed that a brother by the name of Tazadakia was the God-sent comforter or the Holy Spirit in the flesh. You understand? I can't even say that with a straight face.
Yes,
Yeah, ain't nothing more Christian than believing that this brother right here is the Holy Spirit in the flesh. You understand? They believe. Look it up. Google it. Look it up. Hey, look it up. It is the truth. They believe this brother was the Holy Spirit. They call him the God-sent comforter. You understand? So yeah, look it up. Look it up. Go on YouTube. You know, check it out. You know, it'll blow your mind with some of these Israelites that are actually out here teaching.
yes, sir.
You know what I mean? But the thing is that, you know, you had that split where, you know, brothers started believing that he was the Holy Spirit, caused another split in the school. You know, and in that split, you had one brother that refused to turn against the Most High. They refused to throw away what was handed down to him. You understand? Because he had that conviction and that fear of the Most High. You understand? That love for his brothers. Commander General YAHANNA said a statement that was so heavy to me. And the last time, the Passover before last, I sat down and I told him this. But, you know, and that statement is one of the few things that brothers teach in the school that you hold on to. And this is one of the things he said. He said at that time, when all these brothers was leaving the school, they was dropping like, I can't even say flies, you know, it was dropping like more than flies, you know, dropping, just falling off, you know what I mean? Just left and right, hundreds. You understand? And Commander General YAHANNA sat and watched all that happen. Wow. And Commander General YAHANNA said, you know what? And I said I couldn't leave, and I refused to leave. He said, not because of what would happen to him, but because of the amount of brothers that will be destroyed because of it. That's what Commander General YAHANNA said. And I hold on to that to this day. You understand? Commander General YAHANNA chose to suffer and rebuild and do the work of the Lord when everybody wanted to throw it away, when everybody wanted it to die. You understand? He kept it going. And I thank the Most High for it. Because had he not done that, there would be no I.S.U.P.K. You understand? And so that is why he is the Commanding General YAHANNA. That is why he is the highest ranking man in Israel. Because everybody left the school. Well, and guess what? When you leave the school, you lose your rank. You know, if you in the United States military and you a sergeant and you go AWOL and you leave the military, you leave your post and everything, you're like, you know what? I don't agree with this military stuff. You know, I'm going over here to go sleep with whores at the crack house. You understand? Are you still a sergeant in the military?
Yes, sir.
No, you're not. You're a civilian. You understand? So when you leave the I.S.U.P.K, you are no longer the highest ranking man in Israel. And guess what? Commander General YAHANNA didn't seek that power. He didn't seek after that seat. Mashah did. He sought that and became the head of the house of David. That the purple wearing brother, Nathaniel, he sought after that power. And you can't sit here and say he didn't. Because where's he at right now? He's the head of the IUIC.
Correct.
When at one point in time, he was an officer in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So the thing is, this brother is not in a position that was given to him by the Most High. He's in a position that he created for himself.
That's right, according to the scripture.
You understand? So read that scripture again.
And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men,
if this counsel or work be of men, if your rank is created, if this person has this authority at his own will, go ahead.
It will come to naught.
It'll come to naught. If Commander YAHANNA would have said, I'm the general, I'm going to be the general, I'm going to rule over everybody, I'm going to do this, it would have amounted to nothing. But he didn't do that. You understand? While everybody else did, he was the only one that didn't. So therefore, he was the only one that deserved it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to drop that. You understand?
Yes, sir.
We're going to drop that. All right. Matter of fact, go ahead and read on. Go ahead and finish that out.
But if it be of God, you cannot overthrow it.
You understand? If it be of God, if this position that you got as the head of your school be of the Most High, it cannot be overthrown. So let me ask you a question. You don't know the history on Tazadaki. Tazadaki got arrested. Whole church got raided by the FBI. You understand? House of David, Marshall, school fractured into 1 million pieces. You understand? Because when Marshall died, all those brothers started clawing for that power. Because just like Marshall, all those brothers wanted power. They were clawing for that power and nobody could quite get it. So it shattered to IUIC, GMS, AOC, HOI, FOPE, 14th Street Israelites, all these different Israelite groups. You understand? So all these brothers seek after power. You understand? When in the I.S.U.P.K, it was given to Commander YAHANNA. You understand? So if we look at what happened with Marshall, look at what happened with Tazadakia, all of that was brought to naught. But Commander YAHANNA, I put it like this. Commander YAHANNA got some hardcore soldiers that'll die for him.
Yes, sir.
You understand? And you know what? And he wouldn't have those men unless he was the type of man that deserved that power. You understand? I thank God for what he did for the I.S.U.P.K. You know what I mean? And so we're going to read on.
Let's happily.
Hold on, Salaki. We're not going to read on. What I want you to do is I want you to go to 2 Chronicles. I want you to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 3.
15:3.
So we're gonna get into the history. I'm gonna try to move a little faster.
Yes, sir.
I'm running behind on the time. We're gonna try to move through this quickly.
2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 3. Now for a long season, Israel hath been without the true God.
You understand? So for a long season, you understand? When I say a long season, we're gonna look at it like this. Since YAHANNA, all the way up until 1969. You understand? That's a long season. You understand? That's a long season, brother, without the Most High. You understand? So read that again from the top.
Now for a long season, Israel hath been without the true God.
Without the true God. You understand? The true God of Israel, of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Read on.
And without a teaching priest.
Without what?
A teaching priest.
So who was a priest in Israel before the I.S.U.P.K? After, you know, the only one you could think of is YAHANNA. You understand? Or you could say his disciples like Paul and Peter and them.
Yes, sir.
You understand? But there was nobody since that era that we can reference. You understand? There was none. There was nobody out here doing that work prior to the I.S.U.P.K. Read on.
And without a teaching priest, and without law.
Without what?
Without law.
You understand? Without law. You understand that law? That's what we stand on in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? That's revolutionary in a world that tell you can be a homosexual. You understand? The law is revolutionary in a world that tells you to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You understand? Just like how it was revolutionary when YAHANNA was teaching blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians to separate from the white man.
That's right. That's right.
You understand?
Come on.
Read that again from the top.
Yes. Now, for a long season, Israel had been without the true God.
You understand? For a long time, we went without the truth. Black people, we was lost. We was in slavery. We was oppressed. We was going to wars. You understand? We was dying, getting hung from trees. You understand? Having our eyes burned out of our sockets for reading the Bible. You understand? So for a long time, we didn't know the true God. We was taught. So if we didn't know the true God, what does that mean?
Then we were worshiping a false God.
We were worshiping a false God. You understand? We were worshiping white Jesus.
Without the true God.
You understand? We were worshiping Satan. We were worshiping Islam. You understand? Following after all these religions and all of the lusts that we want to follow after. You understand? So for a long time, we didn't have no priests. You understand? So for that long time, we didn't have nobody. So I want you to drop that.
Yes, sir.
You understand? You should go to Proverbs, first chapter.
Proverbs, the first chapter.
Go ahead.
First chapter 1, okay. Proverbs,
we're going to start at verse 20.
Proverbs, first chapter, verse 20. Wisdom crieth without.
Read that again.
Wisdom crieth without.
You understand? Wisdom crieth without. You understand? Wisdom crieth out. Cry out loud. You understand? Wisdom cry out loud. Go ahead.
Wisdom cried without, and she uttereth her voice in the streets.
You understand? So here's the thing. When we go out here in these streets, that's where we teach the Bible. You understand? So that wisdom that the Most High gave to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you understand? We go out there every street corner, every weekend, and scream in the top of our lungs,
sir,
every Saturday.
Sir.
You understand? We've been doing it faithfully since 1969. Yes, you understand? You understand? Read on.
She cried in the chief place of the concourse.
You understand? So that's what we do. That's what the I.S.U.P.K. did in 1969. We went to the chief concourses, to the main streets, downtown, in front of the governor, in front of the police chief.
That's right.
You understand? Read on.
In the openings of the gates.
In the openings of the gates. You understand? The gates, in the context, the gates is where everybody walked in and out. You understand? We was at the most populated places talking to our people. Read on.
In the city, she uttereth her words, saying.
In the what?
In the city, she uttereth her words, saying.
Read on.
How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity?
You understand? So it says in the city, we do this. In the city, we say, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? You understand? So that rules out any Christian church.
That's right. That's right.
That rules out any Christian pastor that taught the Bible before the I.S.U.P.K. That's right. Because them Christian pastors wasn't out there in the streets. You understand? The commandment keepers who they like to give the credit to wasn't out there in the streets. You understand? But read that again from the top. Read verse 20 again from the top.
Wisdom cried without.
You understand? But wisdom cried without. It don't hold itself in. You understand? The truth can't be contained. You understand? You can't hide the truth. You understand? Like they say, like what's done in the dark won't come to the light. You can't hide the truth. Go ahead.
Her voice in the streets.
You understand? Her voice in the streets. Where's the Christian pastor voice? It ain't in the streets. It's in the Christian church, in your wife's ear. You understand? In your 6-year-old daughter's ear. You understand? Read on.
She crieth in the chief place of the concourse.
So here's the deal. We looking for something. We going through the history of black people, the history of the One West. If we go through history, who before I.S.U.P.K was in the streets teaching black people that we was Israelites?
Oh.
So if you're looking through history, if the Lord said it was going to happen, when it happened, what organization was it?
I.S.U.P.K.
Damn right. You understand? It was the I.S.U.P.K that done it.
Yes, sir.
Read on.
In the openings of the gates, in the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity?
Go ahead.
And the scorners delight in their scorning, and the fools hate knowledge.
You understand? We was the ones that was out there. We were the ones. Nobody else. You understand? That's why the I.S.U.P.K became such a powerful organization between the 60s, 70s, and 90s. Because there was nobody teaching this. There was no place on the globe that taught that we was Israelites. There was no place on the globe that taught black people to separate from the other nations. You understand? There was no place on the globe that was turning black people back to the Most High. You understand? And we're gonna drop that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna go to Isaiah 30 and 20. Baba Shah. Go to Isaiah 30 and 20. So there was no organization out here teaching on the street before the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? It wasn't happening. You understand? There was no other organization. So if we gonna hand, like I'm not gonna say hand, but if we gonna claim that every Israelite group could be right, could be wrong, some somebody got the truth, somebody got a little bit of the truth, everybody need to come together, blah, 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 blah. I understand you when you say everybody need to come together. But my question for you is, when Moses was parting that Red Sea, how was black people coming together? Under one man, under Moses.
That's right.
You understand? We wasn't split between Moses and Leroy, you know what I mean, and Deshaun. You understand? We was under Moses. You understand? And when we followed after that one body. You understand? Because even Moses had to build men. You understand? We're gonna bring that out in a second. Moses even had to build men and give them rank and order in order to be able to get to properly be a priesthood to the nation of Israel. You understand? Just like how in the I.S.U.P.K we have officer of 1,000, officer of 500, officer of 50. You understand? Moses had to build that same order. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Read that when you got it.
And Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity.
So transatlantic slave trade, what was that? That was adversity. Jim Crow laws, what was that? That was adversity. Poverty, the fall of Black Wall Street, what was that? Adversity. Oppression, Rosewood, Red Summer, that was adversity. You understand? Read that again from the top.
And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity,
although we in America being oppressed, read on.
And the water of affliction,
we punished every day in America. You understand? Getting busted across our heads. Emmett Till got murdered for a lie about him whistling at a white woman. Read on.
Ye shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more.
Read that last part again.
Ye,
it says
yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore.
Where's your Christian pastor at? He back there in the corner somewhere, back there in the corner somewhere teaching and molesting your kids. You understand? He's supposed to be guiding the flock. You understand? But what that scripture say again? It says, yet.
Oh, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore.
So your teachers ain't gonna be in no corner no more. Your teachers ain't gonna be in some building in the middle of the ghetto, looking the size of the White House. Meanwhile, every house around it looked like a crack house. You understand? Your teachers ain't gonna be sitting in there on that high in that corner any longer. Read on.
But thine eyes shall see thy teachers.
You understand? Our eyes gonna see thy teachers. And you know what? They seen their teachers when in 1969, when the I.S.U.P.K came out on the streets and taught our people.
That's right. That's right.
You understand? And we was the only ones doing so. We was the only ones doing so. Wasn't nobody else doing it. You understand? Wasn't nobody else doing it from 1969 all the way up into the 90s. There was nobody else. And there wasn't some fringe organization that just popped up over in Jamaica. Wasn't some fake organization or some different organization that popped up in California. It started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, the Israelite School and Universal Practical Knowledge. When the Lord said you was going to see your teachers, who did he send? Did he first send IUIC? Did he send GMS?
No, sir.
Who did you see when the Lord said this? Who popped up? I.S.U.P.K popped up.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Brothers wearing boots and mitris and studs and fringes.
Yes, sir.
You understand? That's who the Lord sent. That's who showed up when the Lord said he was going to send somebody. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Read on.
Verse 21. And thy ears shall hear a word behind thee saying, this is the way, walk ye in it.
And then I.S.U.P.K been doing that since 1969. 1969. And they said, read that again, that part again, read it one more time for me.
And thy ears shall hear a word behind thee saying.
So you walking down the street and you hear somebody called a white society the devil, the Bible speak of. You hear somebody hearing that voice scream telling you to stop being a whore, to stop being a drug addict, to stop hating your brother. You understand? Right. Saying that you're supposed to join the I.S.U.P.K and to come grab a flyer. Read on.
This is the way. Walk ye in it.
Saying this is the way. These are the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us. And we are to keep those commandments. We've been teaching that since 1969. Who else been done it? What Christian church prior to the I.S.U.P.K taught that you was an Israelite and that you had to keep God's law? You understand? Which one? Wasn't none. You understand?
The world.
You understand? The world had us in slavery. You understand? I want you to drop that. You understand? We're going to go down to, let's see. We're going to go to, give me 1 second here.
Yes, sir. Come.
All right, so I want you to go into Ezekiel.
Okay, yes, sir.
And we're going to start at chapter 37. We're going to go to verse 1.
Ezekiel, chapter 37, Verse 1.
Go ahead.
The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Right. So that valley full of bones, you understand? That's what that's talking about is black people. We're about to go into the story, to the prophecy of the valley of the dry bones.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So it's talking about black people destroyed in America. You understand? We was destroyed in America. Think about it. All even to now, 2019.
Yes, sir.
We still a valley of dry bones.
Yes, sir.
You understand? And we still going out here every weekend prophesying.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Read that. Go ahead.
The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Go ahead.
And caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley. You
understand? There's very many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that were destroyed in America, that are still destroyed. Very many. You understand? But that's not the point of what we're bringing out. Read on.
Very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
Go ahead.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
Can they what?
Can these bones live?
You understand? Read. So he's asking the Most High. It's like he says the Most High is asking him. You know, can these bones live? Read on.
And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest.
Go ahead.
And again he said to me, prophesy unto these dry bones.
Do what?
Prophesy unto these dry bones.
You understand? He said to prophesy unto these dry bones. The Lord gave Ezekiel, who was a prophet, an order. You understand? That order was to prophesy unto these dry bones, to prophesy unto the nation of Israel. You understand? To go out here and teach them, to go out here and stand on that street corner, just like I brought out earlier, the ways and cries without, and the chief concourses, to go out here and prophesy. Read on.
And say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter unto thee.
Read that again.
I will cause breath to enter unto thee.
Go ahead.
And ye shall live.
So by prophesying to the people, for the prophets of God to go to do what the scripture said, to go out here in these street corners, to go out here in the chief concourses, and to tell them this is the way, walk ye in it. You understand? To do that is what's going to make these dry bones live.
Yes, sir.
That valley of the dry bones. You want to save black people? You want to help black people? Well, black people is the valley of the dry bones. That's right. And the only thing that's going to save that dry bone is to prophesy. You understand? It's for us to do this work in the I.S.U.P.K.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Read on.
And I will lay sinews upon you, and I will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin.
Go ahead.
And put breath in you, and ye shall live.
You understand? It says it's going to put breath in you, and ye shall live. Now, of course, this isn't talking about a valley of dead bodies, a valley of corpses. It's not what it's talking about. You understand? This is a prophecy that the prophet Ezekiel was having. Yes, you understand? And in this prophecy, he's seeing a valley of dry bones, which represents us today. You understand? Even not Martin Luther King, even Malcolm X even said it, that we are that valley of the dry bones. You understand? So, and we are the prophets that were sent to prophesy unto that valley. That's right. You understand? Read on.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh.
Go ahead.
So I prophesied, and I was commanded, and I prophesied. There was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone.
You understand? That's how it all comes together. That's how it all comes together, man, piece by piece. You understand? Brothers don't change overnight. You understand? Brothers have, that's why we say you got to come into the school and do 90 days.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Because it don't happen overnight.
Yes, sir.
You understand? You have to learn. You have to become seasoned. You understand? You're not going to become a trooper tomorrow and be General YAHANNA the day after that.
Yes, sir.
You understand? It's a process. You understand? You got to come in, you got to learn, you got to study. You have to shed yourself of who you was.
Yes,
and in turn, that's going to give you life.
yes, sir.
You understand? And what does that mean? It's going to give you life. Meaning that you are not going to be bound by all the things that was killing us before.
That's right.
You understand? You're not going to be hating your brother. You're not going to be hating your sister.
That's right.
You understand? You're not going to be out here. You know how many stories I hear of brothers on child support? You understand? With no hope, in and out of jail, and then come to find out the baby ain't even theirs. You understand? We are destroyed in America, man. You understand? We are destroyed. And because we are so destroyed, that's why I asked that question at the beginning. If it be of God or if it be of man, you got to ask that question. You got to take it serious if you in this truth. Right. If you claim that you in the truth, you better start taking it serious. Right. You understand? Yes, because I'm gonna tell you something. We getting closer and closer every day to World War III. Play with it if you want to. You understand? They say I ain't never been shot, but they say them bullets is hot. But you know what? I know what's hotter. Them thermonuclear warheads. Yes, you understand? The Bible say that they gonna burn like an oven. Yes, you understand? Burning the elements. You understand? Yes, so it's time to stop playing with this thing. If you in a fake Israelite group, you need to ask yourself, is this of man or is this of the Most High? You understand? And you need to look at the other fake Israelite groups that have already fallen and ask yourself a question. Were they of God or were they of man? Because you can believe it's of God all you want to. Christians believe that Christian church is of the Most High until they find out that their daughter been getting molested since she was 5. Then what is it? Is it still that house of God that you thought it was? You understand? Read on.
And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the 4 winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, and they may live.
You understand? You understand? So by these prophets being sent out to do this work, we're ordered to do this by the Most High. When the prophets showed up to do that in 1969, they was ordered to do that by the Most High. That's right. You understand? Read on.
So I prophesied as he commanded me.
So every weekend we prophesy. We stand on that street corner and we prophesy. No matter who stand with us or who stand against us, whether brothers want to leave, whether brothers want to be weak and chase after their lust, read on.
And the breath came into them.
You understand? We're going to still prophesy because we love our people and we want that breath of life to go into them like it was given into us, like it's still given into brothers every day. Read on.
And they lived.
Go ahead.
And stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
Of what?
Exceeding great army.
Nah, a peaceful congregation.
Great army.
You understand? The Lord is building an army, man. The Lord is building an army. Give me Exodus 15 and 3.
Exodus 15?
Exodus 15 and 3.
Exodus 15 and 3.
You understand? Anybody that's in the Israelite group out here in that fake Israelite group, and if you've ever been in the military, you need to ask yourself seriously. If you was in the military and you was given an order to stand post, and you chose to disobey that order and leave the army, You understand? What would end up happening to you?
Be killed.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, you'd be hung for that. That'd be considered treason.
Treason, yes, sir.
You understand? Read on.
Okay. Exodus 15.
Salakia, before you read that, it's heavy that I said that, but if you'd have done that in the United States Army, it would be considered treason, and you could be hung for that back in the day.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So when brothers, the I.S.U.P.K was the first organization out here teaching this. Means that we was ordered to do this work by the Most High. And every brother that was in the I.S.U.P.K was given that same order to do this work by the Most High. So for any brother to leave the I.S.U.P.K and start their own organization, you committed treason against not only the I.S.U.P.K, right, but the man who gave the order to the I.S.U.P.K right, to go out here and do this work. Right. You committed treason against the Most High. You understand? Read on.
Exodus 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war.
He's a what?
The Lord is a man of war.
The Lord ain't no sissy, man. The Lord ain't no punk. Read that again.
The Lord is a man of war.
The Lord is a man of war. The scriptures call him the Lord of hosts. You understand? The Lord of hosts. I heard that all my life growing up in the Catholic Church. The Lord of hosts. The Catholics even sing songs. The Lord of hosts. However they do it, man. I didn't know what I thought. Hosts. In the Catholic Church, they call the little crackers hosts. That's what they call. That's what they call it. That's what they call them. I grew up my whole life thinking the Lord was the Lord of bread crackers, cracker breads. Okay, yeah, no sweat. That's how I was growing up, and that's how dumb the Christian church makes. Because I had no idea what it means. But until I came into the I.S.U.P.K and I started looking things up and learned that the Lord of hosts means the Lord of armies. Read that again from the top.
The Lord is a man of war.
Imagine the general of the American army, the highest ranking general of the American army, gives you an order. Might not be a direct order, but it's an order passed down to you from the lieutenants and the sergeants and the captains. Yes, sir. And all of a sudden you say, you know what? I don't want to be in the army no more. I'm gonna go start my own militia back home. You committed treason. You understand? They put you in prison for that today. You understand? So imagine how the Most High feels when a brother leave the I.S.U.P.K, when a brother leave the organization that the Lord raised up. Because I keep saying it like that, because you cannot call yourself an Israelite and not believe that what you learned came from the Most High. Because if it didn't come from the Most High, just tell me the Christian pastor who came up with it. Tell me what biblical scholar figured it out. You understand? Because he didn't give that knowledge to scholars. That's right. He gave that knowledge to brothers in the ghetto. He gave that knowledge to brothers who could not have gotten that knowledge any other way but from the Most High. That's right. You understand? Yes, sir. Read on.
The Lord is a man of war. Yahweh is his name.
You understand? The Lord is a man of war. You understand? The Lord is not a man to be played with. You understand? He is not to be trifled with. I like to say that word just because it sounds so silly to go against the Most High. That's right. You understand? I use that word trifle with because it make you look silly. You understand? Yes, I say that word like if I go and try to wrestle a gorilla, I'm trifling with that gorilla. He's not to be trifled with. That's right. You understand? God. So the Lord is a man of war. So he gonna think like a man of war. He gonna react like a man of war. You understand? Meaning that for you to commit treason is an act of war. You committed an act of war against the Most High by doing that. You understand? But we're gonna drop that. You understand? We're gonna go to we're gonna drop that. You understand? So I just wanted to bring that out to let you know that the Lord is a man of war, man. The Lord is building an army. So like, you got a dictionary? Is there a dictionary over here?
Black.
We got any dictionaries over there?
I'm not sure, sir.
So like, you got your phone?
Yes, sir.
I want you to do me a favor, Bobby Shop.
Yes, sir.
Look up the definition of soldier.
Soldier. Okay.
And I want you to hold it for me. You understand? I want you to look up the definition of soldier. And I want you to hold that for me. Bobby Shop. We got any questions in the room? Facebook, Google Hangouts, YouTube, any questions? I lost the YouTube thing. Go ahead, though. We got any questions? If you got any questions, just type them in the chat. All right, so read that definition for me when you can, Bob.
Yes, sir. Definition of soldier: a person who serves in an army.
You understand? Read it again.
A person who serves in an army.
So remember the scripture said that what the Lord is building, the Lord is a man of war. You understand? What it said we was building in Ezekiel? Said he was going to be building an exceedingly great army.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So what I am is a soldier. Read that definition again.
The definition of the word soldier: a person who serves in an army. So
the Lord said he was going to build an army. An army is filled with soldiers. Now I want you to look at the definition of army.
Sir.
Look up the definition of army. The Lord said he wasn't coming to build a church congregation. He wasn't coming to build a Bible study group. He was building an army.
Yes, sir.
You understand? An army with soldiers.
Sir.
A soldier is a member of an army.
Sir.
You understand? And read that when you got it.
The definition of army: an organized military force equipped for fighting on land.
Read that again from the top. Slow it down.
And organized.
And a what?
And organized.
So this is an organization. Let me ask you this question. Are you organized being in 50 different groups?
No, sir.
Is that organized?
No, sir.
You understand? It's not organized.
No, sir.
Read on.
An organized military force.
Military force. You understand? That's why we are militant in the I.S.U.P.K. Because the Lord is militant. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is the Lord of armies. You understand? He's the Lord of hosts. The nation of Israel will one day stand as one of the Lord's armies. You understand? Read on.
An organized military force equipped for fighting on land.
You understand? So equipped for fighting is the key point. Is the equipped for fighting. You understand?
Yes, sir.
We are equipped to battle white supremacy. We are equipped to do it.
That's right.
You understand? How can you be battling white supremacy? You understand? Meanwhile, your leader is serving white supremacy. You understand? How does that work?
It can.
How does that work to battle white supremacy and your leader serves white supremacy?
Right.
You understand? Because last time I checked, falsely imprisoned black people sound like white supremacy.
Right.
We would have never expected it. An Israelite, a so-called Israelite would do that. You understand? So I want you to drop that definition. All right.
Yes, sir.
Now we're gonna do this. I had some more scriptures I was gonna bring out.
Yes, sir.
We were definitely running short on time.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So keep in mind that a soldier is a member of an army. You understand? I want you to go to 2 Titus chapter, not Titus, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. Bible shot.
Yes, sir. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3.
Go ahead.
Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier.
As a what?
As a good soldier.
As a good church member.
As a good soldier.
As a good congregant.
As a good soldier.
Say endure hardness as a good soldier.
Sir.
As a good soldier. What color is them words?
Black, sir.
Salaki. Read that again from the top.
Okay. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier.
As a good soldier. You understand? We're supposed to be soldiers in this truth, man.
Yes, sir.
And what is a soldier? Soldier is a member of an army. And what is an army? An organized group of soldiers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Not 10 different organizations. You understand? So I want you to drop that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I want you to go to, you understand? We're going to go to Salakia. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 4. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 4. Bible shot. So I'm bringing all that out to show you when the I.S.U.P.K came on the scene, brothers and sisters thought we was insane. Like, who are these militant brothers on the corner preaching the Bible? You understand? Teaching the Bible on the street corner, in the hood, in the biggest strip, in the middle of the city. Who is this? Is these people dressing like they here for war? They ready for war. Who are these militant brothers? That's what they was looking at us like. These people, these brothers is nuts. You understand? But the whole time, the scriptures breaking down for you that these prophets that the Lord said he was going to send to the children of Israel was going to fit these criteria. And I'm showing you the criteria,
yes, sir,
that the Lord said that his prophets was going to meet.
yes, sir.
They was going to be out on the street. They was going to be on the corners, in the middle of downtown, the middle of these cities.
Yes,
there was going to be an army, militant, organized. And we called to be good soldiers. You understand? Does a good soldier start his own army? That's not a good soldier.
Yes, sir.
You understand? We're going to get to that in a second. Read that when you got it. Huh?
Is that Ephesians chapter 4, verse?
Right, Ephesians 4 and 4.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 4. There is one body.
There's what?
One body.
There's one body. There's only one body, one organization. Read on.
And one spirit.
And one spirit. Read on.
And even as ye are called in one hope.
And you are called in one hope. You understand? We all worship one God. God chose one nation.
That's right.
You understand? You know, how can he start with the I.S.U.P.K and land with Christians united in homosexuality? You understand? how can he jump from the I.S.U.P.K to something else?
That's right.
Did he jump from Israel to Ishmael? Did he jump from Israel to Moab? You understand? Did the Most High jump from Israel to Esau?
No, sir.
No, he always chose Israel. You understand? And he always sent his prophets to Israel. And all his prophets fit that criteria. You understand? Say for a long period, we was going to be without teachers. And then all of a sudden, I.S.U.P.K.
That's right. That's right.
Out here on these street corners, just like the scripture said.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Right.
Organized, just like the scripture said.
Exactly.
Soldiers, just like the scripture said. As an army, just like the scripture said.
Exactly right.
When you see the I.S.U.P.K, you don't see an Israelite group. We are not an Israelite group. We are the army of the Most High. You understand? You might be in an Israelite group, but this is the army of the Lord that you're looking at. You understand?
Sure.
Read that again from the top.
There is one body.
You understand? So there's one body. There's only one body. There's only one organization sent to deliver sent to teach this word to the Most High. There's only one. There's only one army of men that's sent to teach the Most High, teach the children of the Most High. Only one. So my question for you is, who is it? If it ain't the U.P.K, who is it? You understand? Who was before the U.P.K? Wasn't nobody. You understand? And the ones who came after the U.P.K, HOD, House of David, shattered into a million pieces. If you when you in some old alpha, a lot of these rogue Israelites call them alphabet boys. That's what they call them. The alphabet boys. I see what even the rogue Israelites out here doing. The rogue Israelites, they even out here saying the alphabet, the Israelite camps. They talking all against the camps because of all the stuff going on in the camps. But this ain't no Israelite camp. This is the army of the Most High.
That's right.
You understand? And then you're looking at good soldiers.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes,
who served the Most High, who went out on these street corners, who's still going out on these street corners since 1969.
Yes, sir.
We ain't start up in the 90s. We ain't start up in the year 2006. We started in 1969. You understand?
Yes, sir.
How old is your Israelite group? You understand? So that goes back to that scripture. You know what I mean? There's one body. So there's another key right there. There's only one body.
One body.
You understand? There's only one body. And I shouldn't even have to go any further from explaining to you that it's just one body. You understand? Because if it's only one body, then that means after the U.P.K, there is nothing else. There shouldn't be nothing else. Because whoever the Most High sent, that is who it is. And who showed up when the Most High was calling for prophets? The I.S.U.P.K. You understand? The I.S.U.P.K. So if it's only one body, then why would the Lord go from this one body? Did the Lord look at Yahawashi and be like, Yahawashi, you're doing a good job and everything, but I'm gonna go over here with Zacharias and them. I'm gonna rock with them. Them the ones. Them the ones. You understand? That right there causes confusion.
That's right.
And we all know, Israelites know, the Lord ain't the author of confusion.
That's right.
So if you confused as far as which Israelite group to join, the Lord didn't send these Israelite groups.
That's right.
That's why we confused.
That's right.
That's why brothers in these organizations finding out that they camp leaders are homosexual. You understand? Finding out that they leaders are sending penis pictures to each other. You understand? Locking brothers up, sleeping with transsexuals. You understand? But y'all the army of the Most High. Come on, man. You know what I mean? We're gonna drop that.
Sir.
All right. We're gonna drop that and we're gonna go into we'll get a little deeper in this. We're gonna go to we're gonna go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Matter of fact, go to 1 Timothy chapter 4. Hold that if you could. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 4.
1 Timothy chapter 4.
Yeah, 1 Timothy chapter 4. Start at verse 1.
1 Timothy chapter 4.
Go ahead.
Verse 1. I charge thee, therefore, before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom.
Salakia, is that 1 Timothy?
Oh, that's 2 Timothy.
Yeah, 1 Timothy. No sweat. No sweat.
1 Timothy
chapter 4.
Okay. 1 Timothy chapter 4. Verse 1.
Yeah, okay.
Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times.
Now, what are the times we living in?
The latter times.
We're in the latter times. You understand? We're in the last days. We're not in the old days. A lot of people like to say, oh, that's the old testament. We're in the old days, like the Christians like to say. We ain't in the old days. We're in the latter times. Read on.
Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith. So in the last days, it says some shall depart from the faith. Meaning what? This is how you need to look at that scripture. In order for them to depart from the faith, that means it had to been built up already. Yes, sir.
You understand?
That's right.
So in the last days, how can they depart from something that ain't even built?
That's right.
You understand? So in the last days, they're going to depart from the faith. Meaning what? In the last days, they was going to be men that was going to leave the organization that the Lord set up. You understand? And guess what? Let's look back at 1969. Like we already established, nobody came before the UPK. Nobody came for the UPK, and the UPK was going strong from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. You understand? So now we in the 90s, year 2000. We in the last days. We in the latter times. You understand? So read that again.
Now the Spirit speaking expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith.
You understand? It says some shall depart from the faith. You understand? That faith that what the Lord built in 1969, guess what? In the 90s, brothers departed from it. Read on.
Giving heed to seducing spirits.
Go ahead.
And doctrines of devils.
And doctrines of devils. Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. When brothers leave the truth and start their own organizations, here's one thing I've noticed in common with all of them. Somehow, some way, in some form or fashion, they find a way to love the other nations. Somehow, some way. GOCC love the Filipinos. They love the, I don't even know what they 12 tribes chart look like. They 12 tribes chart look like a We Are the World chart. You know what I mean? But they let white men come to the Passover. You know what I mean? Picture and then singing up there on stage for them. You know what I mean? Some form of fashion. They following after these doctrines of devils.
That's right.
Christianity is what? A doctrine of devils. You understand?
Right.
Why is it a doctrine of devils? Because it's a deception.
That's right.
It's a lie.
That's right.
It ain't the truth.
That's right.
You understand? It ain't the truth about the Most High. It ain't the truth of the Most High. Because remember, it said for a long period, we went without that knowledge of the true God.
Right.
So in the latter days, it had to have been built up in order for brothers to leave it.
Right.
You understand?
That's right.
Salaki.
Exactly right.
So read on.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy. Speaking lies and hypocrisy. These people that was going to leave the faith in the last days that the Lord built up already in 1969.
That's right.
They was going to teach what?
Lies and hypocrisy.
They was going to teach lies and hypocrisies. This is prophesied in the Bible.
Right.
You understand? In the latter times, that people is going to leave the faith and teach lies and hypocrisy. What's some lies that end up coming out in these fake Israelite groups? The Africans being Israelites, the Filipinos being Israelites, that you can go and be a police officer. You understand? That you can sleep with white women. All of these lies, and this is lies and hypocrisy.
That's right.
You understand? Speaking against the I.S.U.P.K. when you learn the truth from the I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
You understand? Read on.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
And guess what? If their conscience wasn't seared with a hot iron, you want to know why Israel can't come together? You need to talk to your fake Israelite leaders. You understand? Because they the ones that left the faith. And listen, I'm going to tell you something. They left the school. And Commander General YAHANNA stayed and endured it.
That's right.
And said, can you imagine sitting there? Listen, I can't imagine what Commander General YAHANNA went through. I can't imagine sitting there and watching everybody I loved and was ready to die for turn against me, man. And still have the love for your brother to still say, just come to the cookout. Wow. Come to the Passover.
That's right. That's right.
You understand? Come to class, brother. Commander General, I ain't heard Commander General YAHANNA say nothing bad about nobody who ain't say. I didn't heard people say things about Commander General YAHANNA that Commander General YAHANNA never respond to. But he'll respond when you come at one of his soldiers, man.
That's right.
You understand? Because Commander General YAHANNA is a man who loved his brother as himself. You understand? Read that again, that last part again.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
You understand? These fake Israelite leaders, you can't tell them to go back to where you can't tell them. Think about it like this. If you drop out of college, at least believe, man, I got to go back to college. I got to finish up and go to school and get my degree.
That's right.
You understand? But when it comes to this truth, brothers ain't coming back to do nothing. They want power. You understand? They seeking after that power. You understand? And they seeking after that power so much that their conscience is seared with a hot iron.
That's right.
They ain't trying to hear that you was once in the UPK. You understand?
That's right.
And being a brother in the world, I looked at it like this. I broke it down simple. This is how I'm gonna pick what Israelite group I'm gonna join. I asked myself this question: who is loyal and who ain't? Because Yahawashi was loyal.
That's right.
Yahawashi was loyal to the Most High. And them 12 disciples was loyal to Yahawashi. You understand?
Sure.
That type of loyalty to die and get beaten half to death and get hung on the cross for your people. That's loyalty, man. Sure. To leave your brothers and start your own organization, that ain't loyalty. That ain't loyal, man. You understand? And that's one of the reasons that made it simple for me. That made it plain and simple what organization I need to go with. Who loyal and who ain't. Because I don't want to die for somebody who ain't loyal.
That's right.
You understand? And the I.S.U.P.K. is loyal to the Most High.
Right.
So like, let me rephrase what I was saying. I don't want to die for somebody who's not loyal to the Most High. You understand?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Because me willing to die for it, that is my loyalty to the Most High. And if you're not willing to do the same, I can't get down with you.
That's right.
You understand?
So,
and I looked at some of these Israelite groups and I'm like, man, these brothers is talking about their other brothers. These brothers left the I.S.U.P.K. Like, I'm thinking, I was one of them brothers that was like, I wish all the Israelite groups would just come together. Just form an alliance. You know, I was one of them. You understand? Until I found out why.
That's right.
It's because, read that scripture again.
Yeah. Speaking lies and hypocrisy.
Because these other Israelite groups out here speaking lies and hypocrisy. Read on.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Read on.
Forbidding to marry.
Whoa, doing what?
Forbidding to marry.
Forbidden to marry. Wait a minute. What does that mean? What is marriage according to the Bible?
When you have your wife and you have sex with your wife that you've chosen, then you're married to her.
Right. Sex is marriage.
Yes, sir.
So you got Israelite groups out here telling you can't, that sex and marriage is not the same. Saying that if you want to marry a woman, you got to go and get a contract. And guess what? You can only have one. So these Israelite groups is forbidding brothers and sisters to marry. Saying that you can only have one wife. Damn that. Read on.
And commanding to abstain from meats.
And commanding to abstain from meat. You got fake Israelite groups out here saying that it's unlawful to eat meat. Brothers that was once in the I.S.U.P.K. ate the Passover lamb with brothers in the I.S.U.P.K. Went to plenty steak dinners with brothers in the I.S.U.P.K. But now they in a fake Israelite group that they created, talking about it's unlawful to eat meat. That Adam and Eve was vegans or whatever you believe. Read on.
Which God hath created to be received.
Go ahead.
With thanksgiving of them.
God created these things to be received, man. He created meat to be eaten with thanksgiving. He created that woman. You know why he created her.
Yes, sir.
You understand? To be received with thanksgiving.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, brothers out here talking about man can only have one wife. Meanwhile, they at the massage parlor banging trannies, shooting trannies in the face. You understand? Read on.
Thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
You understand? You know, and that's heavy right there. You understand? Because those things are good for brothers that know the truth. But hey, if you don't know the truth and you're in a fake Israelite group, that's right, eat all the kale and romaine lettuce you want. You understand? But it's for me in my house. You know, we're going to eat that lamb and that fried chicken. You understand? That's right. I want you to drop that out.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go to
Corinthians.
Yeah. Go to Corinthians.
What chapter was this?
Chapter 11.
1 Corinthians chapter 11. Yes, sir. What verse was that?
Chapter 11, verse 18.
Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 18. For first of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you.
There be what?
Divisions among you.
The only way brothers can leave the faith in the latter days is division. Division. You understand? Read on.
Divisions among you, and I partly believe it.
Go ahead.
For there must be also heresies.
Hold on, there must what?
There must also be heresies.
Look up the definition of heresy.
Yes, sir.
So if there's division amongst Israel, then there's heresy amongst Israel. So you want to know why all the Israelite camps don't come together? Because there's division amongst Israel. And there's division because there's heresies amongst Israel. Read that definition as soon as you get it. I'll
get down here. The word heresy is opinion profoundly at odds with what is generally accepted.
Read it again from the top.
Opinion.
Profoundly at odds. Profoundly at odds, meaning it goes against. Read on.
With what is generally accepted.
With what is generally accepted or what was originally laid down.
That's right. Sir.
You understand? That is a heresy. You understand? So guess what? In order for there to be division in the last days, there would have had to have been heresy in the last days which means there would have had to have been something laid down already in the last days. You understand? And what was laid down? In 1969, what was laid down was what we teach in the I.S.U.P.K. So you want to know why there's division amongst Israel? Because there was heresy amongst Israel. You understand?
Yes, sir.
That means that what was originally taught, brothers went against what was originally taught.
That's right.
You understand? Read on.
Verse 19. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
Read that last part again. Read
That
scripture.
they which are
Matter of
approved.
fact, read that scripture.
Yes, sir. Verse 19. For there must be also heresies among you.
For there must be also heresies among you. There must come heresies. Read on.
That they which are approved.
That they which are approved.
May be made manifest among you.
May be made manifest among you. You understand? So what you looking at, and when you see the I.S.U.P.K, based off of that scripture, you should know that you're looking at the ones who are approved. You understand? Because it ain't no division in the I.S.U.P.K. It ain't no division in One West. Brothers separated themselves from One West.
That's right.
And why did they separate themselves? Because of heresy. Because of believing that they was King David. Because of believing that Africans is Israelites. Because of believing that you can rape a 13-year-old girl. That's why there's division amongst Israel, because brothers taught against what was originally laid down. Read on.
When ye come together, therefore in one place, this is not to eat the Lord's Supper.
Salakia, I want you to drop that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want you to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12. Bible shop.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12.
Go ahead.
For as the body is one.
For as the body is one. Read on.
And hath many members.
It have many members. Go ahead.
And all the members of that one body, being many,
go ahead,
are one body, so also is Christ.
You understand? We're going to read that again. Read that again from the top.
For as the body is one.
For as the body is one, the I.S.U.P.K is one body. You understand? Hebrew Israelites as a whole is not one body. The I.S.U.P.K is one body. Started, the Hebrew Israelites as a whole started as one body.
Sir.
It started as one body because it was all a part of the I.S.U.P.K. But then you had heresies come in. And that heresies of believing that you was King David created division in the school. And that division in the school did what? Created splits in the schools. Created all these different Israelite groups. All these Israelite groups were started because of heresies. You understand? Read on. And have many members.
What verse?
12 and 12.
12. Okay, so. For as the one body is one, and have many members, and all the members of that one body.
You understand? So we, as the I.S.U.P.K, we are that one body. It says it has many members, you know, like the human body has fingers, toes, thumbs, hands, eyebrows, nose, toes, legs. You understand? Everybody in this school serves a different purpose.
Sir.
You understand? Something that you might glory in or be glorious at, this other brother might not. But this brother, that brother that's not quite good at what you do, is great at what he do.
Sir.
And in this one body, we bring all of that together.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So that's what it means when it's saying there are many members. A lot of fake Israelite groups try to say there's one body, but there's many members. Forget all that. They all attached and serve the brain. My hand don't do what he want to do. My hand does what my brain tell it to do. You understand? My toes don't do what they want to do. My toes do what my brain tells it to do.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
Read on.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read on.
Being many members are one body, so also is Christ.
So also is Christ. You understand? So also is Yahawashi. Yahawashi is with that one body. Yahawashi is loyal. Yahawashi served that one body that he was a part of. You understand? Yahawashi rode with his occupant. He didn't, and this is the thing, there was fake Israelite groups even when Yahawashi was teaching. You understand? Matter of fact, we're going to get that. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and pull that.
Yes, sir.
Go to Acts chapter 5.
Acts chapter 5.
Yahweh, there was brothers that rose up against Yahawashi. Even back in them days. Guess what? There was the saints. It was brothers that rose up against Moses. You understand? Came against Moses. That tried to cause division when Moses was walking the earth, trying to deliver the children of Israel. You understand? Read that when you got it.
Acts chapter 5, verse
35.
5, verse 35. Acts chapter 5, verse 35. And said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men.
You understand? This is a warning that's written in the Bible. This is a warning to anybody who thinks about coming up against the prophets that the Lord set up. They're the prophets that the Lord sent. The body of men that serve Yahawashi. You understand? Read on.
Verse 36. For being these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody.
You understand? Hey, you got a fake Israelite named Theodos, boasting himself to be somebody. Hey, we got the largest congregation. You understand? I got all the followers on Instagram, on Snapchat. Right. My Instagram popping.
That's right.
You understand? Read on.
Boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves.
They did what?
They joined themselves.
They ain't follow after Yahawashi.
They joined themselves.
They joined themselves to Theodos. Read on.
Who was slain.
Who was what?
Who was slain.
Remember that scripture I brought out earlier. If it be of the Most High, it can't be overthrown. But if it be a man, it's going to be brought to nothing. You understand? So here we got a fake Israelite named Theodos, boasting himself to be somebody. Hey, I'm Theodos. I'm the man. I got all the followers on Twitter. Wow. You understand? Read on.
And all, as many as obeyed him.
And all, not some. Read on.
All, many as obeyed him were scattered.
And all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered. Just like what happened in the house of David. All the brothers who followed after Marshall when he split into the house of David, scattered and started all these fake Israelite groups that you see all over YouTube. You understand? Read on.
Were scattered and brought to naught.
Go ahead.
After this man rose up Judas.
And guess what? Theodos wasn't the only one. Theodos wasn't the only one. Read on.
Of Galilee in the days of taxing.
Go ahead.
And drew away much people after him.
Guess what? He drew away much people after him. He caused a lot of people to leave the truth and serve him. You understand? Read on.
He also perished.
He also what?
Perished.
Nah, he was not overthrown.
He also perished.
Nah, he had to have been a man of the Lord.
He also perished.
He also perished. Just like Theodos. Because it stands what the Lord say. The Lord say, if it be of God, it shall not be overthrown. But if it be of man, it shall be brought to nothing. Read on.
And all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed.
Were dispersed. And all them people that followed after him was dispersed. You understand? All of them. Read on.
And now I say unto you, refrain from these men.
And here we are, full circle again. Refrain from these men.
Refrain
from these men. You understand? Read on.
And let them alone.
And let them alone. Leave them alone.
Yes, sir.
Let them do what they do. Go ahead.
For if this counsel or this work be of men.
For if this counsel be of men, hey, don't even worry about it. Because if it be of men, read on.
It will come to naught.
It will come to naught. It's gonna come to nothing. It's not gonna amount to anything. And somebody probably gonna end up dead. Read on.
But if it be of God,
go ahead.
You cannot overthrow it.
You cannot overthrow it if it be of the Most High. You can't be. You understand?
That's right.
That's in the Bible.
That's right.
That's in the Bible. That's giving you examples, showing. You understand? And these same things are still happening today between the hit, and that's why it's important for every so-called Israelite. It's important for every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian that's walking this walk in the fake Israelite group and all these other groups. It's important for you to do your research and find out the history on the Hebrew Israelites in America. Do your history, learn your research. You understand? Because I'm gonna tell you something. The FBI figured it out. They know who the one body of Yahawashi is. They know this. You understand? Because why? They did their research. You understand? They actually then came out and told us directly that we know y'all the truth. We know y'all are the one body, that y'all the real ones. That feds told us that. You understand? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull one more scripture real quick.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Well, a couple more scriptures. I want you to go to Matthew chapter 12, verse 30. Matter of fact, I want you to start at verse 9. Go to chapter 9.
Matthew chapter 12.
No, so like we're gonna go to chapter 9.
Matthew.
Matter of fact, yeah, go to 12 verse 30. So like 12 verse 30. So like
Matthew verse 12, chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, verse 30. And he that is not with me is against me.
He is what?
Against me.
So he that is not with me
is against me.
Is against Yahawashi. You understand? If you don't gather together with Yahawashi in the one body that was built up long before your fake Israelite group. Read on.
And he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad.
And guess what? House of David did not gather with Yahawashi. How do you know that he did not gather with Yahawashi? Because what happened when he said, if you against Yahawashi, what happened? He scattered abroad. He scattered the nation of Israel. He scattered the brothers that was following after him. You understand? Them brothers, them House of David brothers scattered all these fake Israelite groups all across the planet. You understand? Because Christ said, he who is not with me scattereth abroad. You're not doing justice to your people by being in your own Israelite group. You are not. You are scattering the people. And if you are in the head of these fake organizations, you need to understand that is what you're doing. Exodus 15:3 said the Lord is a man of war. That's treason what you're doing, man.
That's right.
All those brothers that scattered because of you being a coward, their blood is on your hands now. And that's why I'm so thankful for what Commander YAHANNA said way back then. When he said that I won't leave the truth and I cannot leave the truth, not because of what happened to me, but because of the amount of brothers that'll be destroyed because of it. You understand? Now I got one more scripture, man. I got one more scripture I'm gonna bring out.
Yes, sir.
You understand? I'm gonna got one more scripture. We're gonna go ahead and wrap the class up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Salaki. I want you to go to Romans, the book of Romans, chapter 16, and verse 17. If you were the type of brother that asked this question, and I don't hold nothing against you for asking this question. You understand? Because it's a good question. You understand? You ask, when is all Israelites going to come together? And I understand. I understand that question. But I'm going to tell you this, that you ask that question from a mental place of naivety. It's really just, you don't know enough to really understand. Like a child doesn't quite understand certain things. You understand? A child doesn't quite understand certain things, so they ask certain questions. And based on those questions, you can tell their level of understanding.
Yes, sir.
You understand? And the thing is, you wouldn't have to ask this question if brothers was not cowards. You understand?
Sure.
If these brothers in these Israelite groups was not cowards, you wouldn't have to ask this question.
That's right.
But you ask the question, when is all Israel going to come together? But I showed you why there's division amongst Israel.
That's right.
Now I'm going to show you something. Read that scripture when you got it.
Romans chapter 16, verse 17. Mm-hmm. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them.
Do what?
Mark them.
Mark them. Go ahead.
Which cause divisions.
To do what?
Which cause divisions.
Now, how do you cause division? How do you cause division? A lot of people say I.S.U.P.K caused division because we say we're not affiliated with no Israelite group. I'm glad we say we're not affiliated with no Israelite group. Because I ain't affiliated with no purple wearing homosexual. You understand? I ain't affiliated with no man that's going to falsely arrest my brothers. I'm not affiliating myself with no man that's going to say who give a damn about Trayvon Martin. I'm not going to affiliate myself with a brother that say he going to go rape a 13-year-old girl. I'm not affiliated with that, man. Because that ain't what I stand for. I don't stand with you, man. I don't stand with you on that. I stand with YAHANNA.
That's right.
You understand? So it says, mark them which cause division. And how do you cause division?
Mark them which cause divisions.
I'm asking you a question, brother. Asking you the question.
Bringing up heresies.
Right, heresies. Heresies is how you cause division.
That's right.
You understand? And what is a heresy? A heresy is something that goes against what was originally taught. Matter of fact, if I could, I'm going to bring one more scripture out after this one.
Yes,
go ahead, read that again.
Yes, sir. Now I beseech you, brother, mark them which cause division.
Say to do what?
Mark them which cause division.
You understand? So we're supposed to mark them which cause division. We're supposed to put a little asterisk by their name.
Yes, sir.
You understand? We ain't supposed to follow after them. We're supposed to watch them. Yes, keep an eye on them. Watch them that cause division.
Which cause,
go ahead.
Which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned.
So it says to mark them. Read it again one more time.
Yes, now beseech you, brother, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you have learned. So
check this out. These fake Israelite leaders, guess what? They was at one time in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? House of David was one time in the I.S.U.P.K. IUIC was at one time in the I.S.U.P.K. GOCC was at one time in the I.S.U.P.K. Read that again.
Now I beseech you, brother, mark them which cause divisions and offenses.
So we're supposed to mark them which cause division. Go ahead.
Which cause offenses, contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned.
So the way you cause division amongst Israel is to teach something contrary than what was originally laid down. So you want to know why Israel can't come together? It's because brothers ain't coming back to the I.S.U.P.K, where it all started from. The one body, one West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York.
Sir.
You understand? You know, brothers in the world say, don't forget where you came from. Well, listen, man, these Israelite groups forgot where they came from and created their own religion. You understand? Ask yourself why your Israelite group will go to Africa, fly all the way. I watch these brothers fly. Man, listen, I.U.I.C, I got to say it. They make me sick to my stomach. They make me sick to my stomach because I sat and watched the video of the brothers down in Atlanta. Listen, man, big up to Officer Dawada and Officer Natazar here in South Carolina, man. Because in South Carolina, when we go to camp, whenever we teach amongst our people in the hood, we go out there and we take food, we take drinks, we take clothes, and we give it to our people, man. Because our people is destroyed out here in these streets. That's right. You understand? I got checked one time because I started giving brothers extra sandwiches. I'm like, man, these brothers sleeping on they sleeping on what they call them things, the benches in the parks. I couldn't have that, man. I had to give them extra sandwiches. Salaki out of wine. Salaki. I just had to do it, man. You understand? That's right. And I watched a video of them I.U.I.C boys wouldn't even give a brother a bottle of water in Atlanta, man. Told him, man, this our water, man. This water ain't for you. Only thing we got for you is these scriptures. I'm like, damn. Damn, I.U.I.C, you cold-blooded, ain't you? But yet, they going to pack up and go all the way to Africa with all them donations that black people and Hispanic people is giving to them and giving it all to the funky, stinking, turd-eating Africans. That's right. But can't even give my brother a bottle of water, man. That's right. Bottle of water. You understand? Yes, sir. To hell with these fake Israelites, man. That's right. I don't got no respect for them. That's right. You understand? They my brothers. I love them. But I ain't got no respect for them. That's good. You understand? So I want you to drop that. I want you to go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 14. This one's going to be the last scripture. I mean it this time. This is the last scripture, man. You understand? You want to know why there's division amongst Israel? It's because brothers started coming up with their own doctrines, and it don't work like that, man. It ain't gonna come into the house of the Most High, man. It ain't gonna come into his house, man. The Lord gonna spew you out. You understand? All these fake Israelite groups, guess what? The only reason why they exist is because that leader wanted to believe a lie rather than hold it down. You understand? You got that scripture for me up?
2 Timothy 3,
verse 14.
2 Timothy 3, verse 14. So
with all the heresies, all the division that was brought in the 90s, listen what Yahweh said.
2 Timothy, verse 3, verse 14. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned.
Do what?
Which thou hast learned.
Now read that again from the top.
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned.
When you came into the I.S.U.P.K and you learned that you was an Israelite, you was not supposed to break off and call yourself King David. You was not supposed to break off and say that you can rape 13-year-old girls. You was not supposed to break off and say that you can be a police officer and falsely arrest your brothers. You was not supposed to do that, man. Read that scripture again from the top.
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned.
You were supposed to continue in what the U.P.K taught. And one of the things that the U.P.K taught, I know it was taught to me, and I teach it to every young brother that come into the school. And I'm sure somebody taught it to the brothers back then. But the first thing I learned was never leave the truth.
Sir.
No matter what, don't leave the truth. You understand? So I continue in what I was learned, man.
That's right.
Them brothers were supposed to continue in what they learned.
Continue.
So these fake Israelite groups, they failed their congregation, man. They failed every brother and sister that has joined their organization. Why did they fail them? Because they got them believing a lie. They got these people believing a lie, man. You understand? They believe in a lie. That's why the UPK, we have that confidence to where we can go up against your whole, it can be 2, 3 of us standing against your whole camp. Don't know fear pump through our hearts because we know we standing on the truth.
That's right.
And we know because we standing on the truth that the Lord is with us.
That's right.
But why do we believe that? Read that scripture again from the top.
But continue down the things which thou hast learned.
Because every scripture that I done brought out, I.S.U.P.K held down that criteria.
That's right.
Read on.
And has been assured of.
And been assured of. You were sure that you was an Israelite when you learned it from the UPK.
That's right. That's right.
You were sure that the Most High was going to come back and deliver us when you was in the I.S.U.P.K. You was sure of it. So sure of it that you went off and stole the 12 tribes chart. Go out here and try to fake it like you the I.S.U.P.K. all you want to. You're so assured in it that you go out here and do that. Read on.
Knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
Yeah, you can claim the truth all you want to, but you know who the one body is. That's the sad part. Your leader knows who the one body is. The leader of these fake Israelite groups, they know where they went wrong at, man. You understand? But pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the class. We the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Jimmy YAHANNA. What we teach is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel according to the Bible, according to archaeology, and according to history. And with that, shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom.